Welcome my friends, Seven Gray here. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Today's video is just an update video. Let's roll the intro and get into it. Currently I am camped outside of Ehrenberg in Arizona and hanging out here through the holidays with some friends. And it's quite nice. We've had good weather overall for the winter months. As Arizona typically does, whereas much of the rest of the nation has been absolutely having chaotic weather with massive rainstorms, massive snow, and this really extreme weather as they call it. So I actually am getting ready to leave this location tomorrow and I'm headed to Florida. Well, why Florida? Well, as you may know from past videos, I have a couple of rental properties down there and one of those is coming up vacant, and so I want to be on site for the move out process as well as finding new tenants. So I am headed down there and we'll probably be there for several weeks while I get a new tenant placed and check on my rental properties and such down there, and then planning to return to the western states before it gets too hot down in Florida. At least that's my hope. Cross my fingers. Let me get you caught up a little bit with my trailer conversion project. While I was here, I ran into one of my friends of many years, Eric Wanderboom, who is an amazing woodworker, and he's had many videos on other YouTube channels and his own YouTube channel, which I'll link below, talking about the different projects that he's been involved with. He did a little bit of work on my step van, and several years ago I built a website for him, and so I had a little bit of credit there. We sort of did a barter kind of thing. So he did a little bit of woodwork for me while I was here. Let me show you what he's been working on. This is the main thing that he built for me. It's a lower cabinet for my kitchen. So there's a set of drawers here. I still need to do the drawer fronts. And so it's 4 drawers on the left hand side of my kitchen, and I have a new countertop that's going to have a laminate on top of this surface here, and it goes in an L shape around the corner. The induction cooktop will be over here on this side with the water tank underneath, and the sink will be going into this area here. Currently I have my sink just on the floor and using it for storage as I'm driving around. So in addition to the sink project, just a couple of weeks ago I had a visit out here in Arizona from a longtime subscriber and friend, Scott. Scott is mostly a computer software expert, but he is sort of a hobbyist that dabbles in a variety of maker kinds of projects. Just all sorts of everything from 3D printers to electronics to really elaborate stuff. And my very first winter in the step van I spent in San Diego for about 2.5 months down at Scott's place, helping him move out of his house, and he helped me with my first install of my electrical system. And then when it came to the trailer conversion here, he remotely helped me with the wiring diagrams, and then a consultant as I worked on that. So he drove out here to see in person the system, take a look at it, camp with me for a couple of days, and we worked on a couple of projects. Let me show you that. A couple of months ago, I built a new battery box. The old battery box had the batteries laying on their side with the terminals facing outward towards me, towards the camera. And now I've changed them to be upright with the terminals on the top, which makes a narrow, long profile. So that's one of the big changes. Second big change is that I replaced the Dali BMS, the battery management system, with these 3 units here that you can see at the top. And these are overkill BMS units, which are much, much higher quality, more capable, and more importantly, they have a Bluetooth connection, which my old ones did not, so that I'm able to monitor the progress on balancing individual cells and problems. Before I talk about the problems, behind me I have some new storage. This is my bed here. I don't recall if in my last video I talked about the storage, but I added 2 shelves of storage here, and I'm going to put these plastic bins in the shelves which are behind me above part of the bed. These are strong enough, and the bottom one could be used as a bunk bed, a small one, anyone that wanted to fit into a half bed size. So that is a second use or possibility should I have need to use it that way, or sold the trailer or lent it to somebody who needed extra bed space. So that's a huge improvement there. In a past video, I talked about some problems that was happening with my electrical system, with everything shutting down. We discovered one little thing that was going on. There was probably about 20 to 30 wire connections in this setup that I did in Florida originally. And Scott looked those over just through photos that I took and things like that. Well, and I miswired one wire out of all of those wires. Scott said everything else was perfect. Some of the cells were radically out of balance, and that was causing the overvoltage errors and the shutdowns. So we have addressed that, and I'm no longer getting those errors. So that's really good. And in addition, if you look at this, instead of 16 cells, I now have 24. I've added an additional 8 cells here to this battery bank, so that kicks it up to the equivalent of 6 Battleborn batteries. That's 600 amp hours worth of battery space here. It's a lot of batteries. So you might ask, why do I need 600 amp hours of batteries? Well, I've got more than sufficient to handle the electrical needs of day-by-day stuff, but my intent in the very near future, prior to next summer, is to install a split AC here inside of my trailer and run that in the afternoons in Colorado, just in the afternoons, off of solar. And so I want to have enough battery power to be able to run it through the late afternoon, early evening as it's still hot, and still make it through the night. So that's the intent of this battery bank and why I ramped it up even more. So that is pretty much an update on projects here. I'm headed to Florida. I'll be down there for several weeks. And while I'm there, I'm planning on pulling everything out of my trailer here into my rental house and put my flooring in and then put it back in. So that'll give me a little window of opportunity to address the flooring. Been in this trailer for not quite 2 years, about 1.5 years. And I still have not put in my flooring, so this would be an opportune time to do exactly that. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a long drive getting down there, something like 25 hours to get from here, Ehrenberg, Arizona, all the way down to the Lakeland, Florida area. That's all I have for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Savor the moment, and I'll see you in a future video.